presentation, and I'm pleased at this time to call up John McDougall for his presentation.
And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to this CME National Buyer Seller Forum. It's become certainly the most stellar event, I think, in supply chain development. But now let me turn to my real key topic, which is carbon capture and storage. But assuming that coal, oil, and gas will be major energy contributors for at least a few decades, what does that mean in terms of CO2 and greenhouse gases? Well, first, I think it means Alberta oil sands and heavy oil production will remain important. The current slowdown in investment is likely just that, a slowdown, and we can expect another round of investment in the years to come. And second, of course, as hydrocarbon production rises, CO2 emissions then will grow as well. And thirdly, as new oil sands and heavy oil projects are completed and come on stream, there will be continuing public attention on them and their impacts, such as greenhouse gas production. Now, in Canada, some of the largest point sources of CO2 are found in the west, and you can see the little dots on this map. They're shown here on an overlay of what we call the Western Sedimentary Basin. The largest CO2 sources in the west are produced from oil sands plants, refineries, upgraders, fertilizers and cement plants, power generation facilities, and other large industrial emitters. There are many elements in dealing with CO2. The big question is how we should do so. And we can intervene at many spots in the system with various technologies to reduce, reuse, or restore the CO2. Now, reducing CO2 emissions is achieved by applying new technologies, typically. Here we show a classic flow diagram of a mining oil sands project. So if we were to intervene in this particular area, we could apply technologies such as nuclear energy for heat and power, or we could use electric drive trucks, or various things that result in cleaner sources of steam and power for oil sands development. Another option is to reduce energy intensity through improved operational efficiencies. A third option would be to change the process. And similarly, in situ development, the energy used for hydrocarbon production, for example, could be reduced through the use of chemical or biological or lower temperature processes. Another way to think about CO2 is as a resource that could be reused to generate value. Options for reuse of CO2 include accelerating plant growth, producing carbonate products, or producing algae. So we hear, for example, about reforestation and agricultural crops and so on, all part of that. But the goal of the carbon algae recycle system is to reduce CO2 emissions by converting large volumes to algae. We're looking at this because CO2 essentially is simply long cycle carbon, and algae turns it into a short cycle process and therefore doesn't continue to add to the total CO2 emissions in the world. The other advantage is we can then extract value by converting the algae to biofuels and other materials.